Welcome to another fine episode of Command Control Power. It's good to see you guys, whatever day and time it is.
Yes, it's great to see you guys as well.
Yeah. I'm joking just because, we this is one of our first episodes of 2026. So, Sam's cheering. Wait, that's factual though. What is the problem with acknowledging the fact that this is early 2026, both as we record and as they hear this?
Get it out of your system, because this is all not going to be in the show.
It's all being cut out of the show.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to say it in the middle of something important this time.
Yes, so you can't possibly cut it. Yeah,
we talk about like a really big story.
Oh, like, if you're listening to something,
yeah,
if you want something important, you're listening to the wrong show.
All right, I should get my likes out as well. Well, I
do that for you. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, thanks. Whether I want it or not.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to another fine episode of Command Control Power. It's good to see you guys. I wanted to talk about Jerry's cutting me again. All right, what's up? Jerry,
Sam,
why don't you start the show whenever you're ready?
Joe, be nice, would you?
It's a new year. You just keep interrupting me. Go ahead. What's up?
Sam, do you hear the static?
I thought I heard a little bit of something, but
really?
How about right now?
No.
Oh, I'm not hearing anything.
It's continuous, yeah.
Check.
No, it's like digi noise. Is anybody's phone besides mine? Let me move my phone away.
Yeah, maybe it's your phone, because I'm not hearing that actually. Maybe.
Well, that means that he who didn't hear it dealt it.
You're the one who smelt it, so I don't know. All right. So are we good or no?
Wait a minute. Well, hold on.
Yeah, I hear it.
It's still there.
I was moving some equipment to see if anything's interfering.
I'll
go on mute, see if you hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go on mute.
There it is.
So it's me, because
just stay on mute, Joe.
Yeah, right. It's problem solved. Crap. All right, let me check this mic over here.
Do you have too many icons on the desktop?
Could be it. Jerry, no comments on the frizzled hair coming out of Norwalk here?
No, I like that.
Oh, okay.
Coming out of Norwalk.
So you're like the heat miser. You get that reference? Heat miser?
Heat miser? No.
We're going off in the weeds. I just want to get rid of the digi noise if we can.
I don't know what else to try here.
It's still there. Can you reboot?
I did right before the show. Reduce.
All right. What about the interface you're using?
Yeah. No, I mean, I can turn on automatically adjust mic volume. Is that any better?
Yeah, you're a little quieter. Let me see.
It's just quieter digi noise.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
How about now?
Oh yeah.
No, it's still there.
Is it?
If I turn it down, go ahead. How's that?
Now it's gone.
All right, I'm at 110
it's still there.
Instead of. Okay.
I think it's doable though. No.
I don't know. Okay.
It's doable. I mean, I barely hear it now.
Yeah, sure. What?
You barely check. Does it come back like when I talk or anything, or is it just kind of always there?
It's always there. It's constant.
All right. I don't know what else it could be.
No, I don't think it's constant. I mean, I'm not hearing it when there's silence now.
Now it's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's roll.
Well, we're live, so as a reminder, seriously, act like when I touch this.
I don't know. All right, we'll let it go. I mean, okay.
The only thing
we'll fix it in post.
Well, here, let me remove myself.
Oh, it's so quiet now.
And then add back in. Is it still the same?
I think there's just a little bit when you talk, but honestly, it's barely noticeable in my. Well, I don't have the same ear as Jerry does, but I don't really hear it much.
Yeah, that would be a medical anomaly if we had the same ears.
Yeah. All right, I moved this closer. Maybe that's a little better.
I'm cooking tonight.
I can't leave, like I can't end and come back, or quit or whatever. Because
I understand.
I think it won't let me restart this show that already went live. So I think this is
okay. We're just gonna have to live with it.
All right.
Cool.
Well, I will do a new intro, and I don't know what to say, but here we are. Welcome to another fine episode of Command Control Power. This is early 2026 as you listen, unless unless you're listening at some point in the distant future, in which case I can't imagine why. I'm probably not going to say anything worth listening to more than a few months from now, but welcome nonetheless. How do you like that intro, Jerry? I mean, you just had me tripping all over myself to avoid saying
Poetry,
what date
poetry,
it is.
Joe,
I
poetry.
know.
Yeah, I'm using my Command Control Power Yeti mug. If anyone wants to know.
Very
Where
nice.
did you get that?
A gift of Richard Wingfield. Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What?
Yeah, along with the shirt. My daughter still wears that shirt.
You got one too, Jerry. No.
Yeah. Yeah, we all did, Jerry.
Look at my face.
He sent it to us. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
in shock.
I got
right
the shirt. Maybe I got the.
I think the shirt was inside the mug too.
now.
Wow.
It wasn't just maybe he thought it was a packaging and just threw it out. Like
Yeah.
That's
That's a little container the shirt came in.
Wait, it's a Yeti mug too?
He
Yeah.
was so excited about this shirt, he threw the mug away because it's a Yeti mug. It's a limited edition. You can't. Yeah.
Is your name on it, Sam?
No. It says a decade of insight, humor, and geekery.
No, I don't think I got
I
that.
love it. Yes, you
I
did.
missed the memo on that. I'm gonna have to look.
We're gonna have to look at the past shows and see like when you opened it live on the air.
Yeah.
We'll just point you to that episode. We've definitely talked about it at some point on the show.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I was highly appreciative. I wore the shirt. Okay.
At any rate,
This is riveting stuff so far, guys.
Yeah.
hey, can I? I'm just going to start us off then. I'm going to tell you that
please.
I finally canceled Optimum, which I'm so happy about. By the way,
Nicely
because
done.
for those of you that aren't aware of Optimum, they're a big ISP in our area and the other areas I think mostly on the East Coast, if I'm not mistaken. They're owned by Altice, and my main reason was not really service necessarily. It was fine. But it's just the constant dancing of arguing your price every 6 months and making a new deal and this and that. I was just so tired of it. And I'd given Frontier a chance a few times in the past and they've just bombed, but they finally ran fiber to my area. I jumped on it. It's $50 a month for a gig. And I called Optimum. They tried everything possible to keep me.
Wow.
It was actually gratifying to be like, nope. And they're like, how about 3 months free and the rest of the year for $20 a month? And I'm like, I know it's a good deal, but I was like, no, I am not taking any deal. I do not want anything from you the rest of my life.
So that's symmetrical service. It's like you
Yes.
said, it's fiber.
Right.
Wow.
So you're only paying $50 a month. That's tremendous.
Yeah, it's a good deal. I mean, to be fair, Optimum had dropped the price to that at one point because I told them Frontier was doing it, and then they bumped it up again like 3 months later. And I was like, okay, that's it. Like I'm just I can't do this anymore, So I got into it a little bit with their guys because they were trying to tell me that, well, these other countries or companies, they'll try and get you into a contract. I'm like, nope, no contract, just one price. And I'm like, guys, I don't know if you know who you're talking to, but I'm not some common folk about this. So don't even try it.
So would you say you're cruising down the information cyber highway right now?
Oh, there you go.
Cyber
Yeah, it's
highway.
okay. All right, I'll roll with that one.
Super highway.
Cyber.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting, Sam. For years, I've been an Optimum customer since they were like selling their service at Nobody Beats the Wiz. I've probably mentioned this in the past. Now, there is actually a Seinfeld episode that's relevant here. If you guys,
I'm the Wiz.
I'm, yeah. It's like, Elaine's dating a guy and she's like, he's so handsome, and like, and everybody's kind of like, where do I know him from? And he's the guy who does, he's the Wiz, right?
Yeah.
So my question was like, is that from Nobody Beats the Wiz? Is that where that's from?
It
'Cause
has
it's a
to
local,
be.
right? Yeah, it has to be. That's a New York like local, company from back in the day. Nobody Beats the Wiz, and So we walked in there and like bought, optimum service. Like you walk out with the modem and, like your yellow what do they call it? Like you sign it live, with a pen, and it's like it marks onto that, pink and yellow copy, and you walk out with
Yeah.
a yellow copy or whatever, and it's like there's your optimum contract. That's how far back it was. They were the first like ISP that wasn't dial up, that I
Wow.
had access to. I mean, I'm talking like, when I was a kid, I was probably like 90s, late 90s or something like that.
Well,
Yeah.
when he was a kid, Joe, I mean, Sam, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, it was like, it was a good
Let
service
that
compared to
sit.
dial up. I mean,
Yeah.
Let that sit for a little while with me when Joe was a kid in the 90s. Hey,
right.
by the
I
way,
was I was a young adult, in the late 90s, whatever. I don't know. I was, yeah, as a kid.
and speaking of 6 Degrees with Kevin Bacon, do you guys remember Crazy Eddie?
Of course.
Yes. That
Okay.
was the other
The
one.
guy who did those Crazy Eddie commercials, I met at the Milford Oyster Festival.
Wow.
And this was a long time ago. And I was a much more fair-haired lad back in those days. And turned an eye, And
Okay.
anyway,
Nice.
he put the moves on me.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. How
Really?
about
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Yep.
So I got a question. Was it him or Crazy Eddie that went to jail? Crazy Eddie went to jail, right? For tax
Yeah,
evasion?
Eddie
That's right.
Antar was his
Yeah.
last name. Yep.
Yeah. That was
Wow.
pretty.
But-
If for those of you that are unfamiliar, look up the commercials. They're hysterical.
Yeah.
They're great. They're on YouTube.
Crazy Eddie. I forgot about that one. I definitely went there back in the day. I mean, I
Mhm.
remember it being kind of just like a bunch of like tech type stuff and appliances and things like that. And it was kind of like just a piles of crap everywhere, like kind of store. It wasn't like very well organized from what I remember. Maybe there was like a separate section I'm thinking of that was like the like cheaper stuff or the special deals or whatever, maybe open boxes or something. But I remember it being kind of a mess. And then you hear the stories later on that, yeah, tax evasion, right? He was probably
Yeah.
Mhm.
selling, even Stu Leonard. Now we're getting super local, but Stu Leonard's back in the day did the same thing. He had like one or two registers that were just like not hooked up to the like accounting system,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, that'll like a great idea. No one ever thought of this. And then like years later, the guy's in jail for tax evasion. So yeah, you can't, you just try not to like scam the government is probably a good approach. And but yeah, the back in the days before Opt Online, the choice was dial up, and you would get the, we all joke about the 1,000 free hours, and it used to be paid. It used to be by the hour. Like you would dial in and they'd charge you by the hours. So
Right.
they would give you 10 hours or like eventually 1,000 hours, and then it was like it wasn't about the hours anymore. It was just like you get months of free service or whatever to try to get you to connect. But try using a phone line when you have like siblings, right? And so somebody like picks up the phone and your internet connection is disconnected. So
Yeah.
switching to cable internet was a huge innovation because it was just always on at that point, and it was 100 times faster, some crazy amount faster. And for years I was a fan of Optimum. They always worked, they were fast. You'd hear clients complain, and of course people complain about anything. When you have enough people using it, there's going to be some people with a bad experience. But I finally became one of those people eventually also, like where I just couldn't stand Optimum from my dealings with them, even on behalf of customers. It's just such a nightmare to get them to fix anything. My take now is like I was cynical about it for a while. Like Optimum, people would call with issues with Optimum, their standard Opt Online service, and Optimum's answer would be, "Well, just upgrade to fiber." And we're like, "No, you're they're paying for this Opt Online service. We just want you to fix it. Like, why does it keep dropping? Just fix
Yeah.
what you have." So it was always frustrating to me, but now my interpretation of that is like they are decidedly not investing in their quote unquote legacy system anymore. And, they're obviously investing in and they're maintaining the fiber infrastructure. I don't blame them really for not investing in anymore, or certainly even maintaining past a certain point, the legacy, quote unquote legacy, Opt Online, coaxial, I guess, copper based system, when, like I said, it's been there for 40, 30 something years. I don't know how many years it is. It's quite a long, it's at least 30 years, let's say. So it makes sense, but they just seem so disingenuous about it. Like the way that they act like, I mean, they could just show up and fix the problem if they wanted to in most
Yeah.
cases, but instead they just try to upsell fiber. And I just had the most recent example was a client with a couple of Eros, and she must have plugged something in where it's now the Wi-Fi is interfering. So she has a message in the Eero network, portal saying there's a Wi-Fi conflict, where it's like broadcasting, something else is broadcasting the same SSID. So we told her about that. We need to address this. We probably should come by. We said also there was, I forget what the other issue was, but anyway, she called the ISP, which is Optimum. So Optimum comes by and they say, oh, well, you have all these concrete walls and, like you need faster internet. Like you have to upgrade to fiber because of your, cement
your
walls.
walls?
I'm just like, this like makes no sense.
Oh man.
But of course, the clients are always, they'll listen to anyone from any of these big companies before they listen to us,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, we're just doing our best to help navigate. Like, no, that's not, and it's really annoying to try to like disavow them of these crazy notions, because you have to basically say that's an outright lie, or they just don't know what the heck they're talking about. But you try not to be so definitive about it to throw somebody under the bus, but you kind of just have to when when they're saying
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, dealing with Optimum is a pain. I'm glad you switched, Sam. Good work.
It's like the old adage, when you tell your spouse something or a significant other, she doesn't believe you or he doesn't believe you. And then you go to Home Depot and you hear for the person making minimum wage.
Yes,
and, oh,
exactly.
okay. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, that makes
Oh,
sense.
okay. Well, yeah.
Well, and I joke all the time about, they're I ask their computer guy, for advice. If they don't believe
Right.
me, they ask. I'm like, I don't even know this person. Who are you talking about? But yeah.
So, Sam, what was your upload speed with Altice before you let them go?
It was a gig. It was also fiber. It was a gig up and down.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
wow.
same. Got it. Okay.
I
so-
had switched to Optimum Fiber, I'd say probably a little over a year ago. So I still had them previous to that, for those that didn't know. I just switched to their fiber service because it became available in my area of town. So I switched, and they gave me a deal of, I think at the time, $80 a month. And then one of our shows, actually, the both of you were talking about some of your ISP prices. I was like, damn, I'm overpaying.
Yeah.
And so that's when I called and I said, Frontier's offering this. And then they're like, oh, we can make it 50, just like Frontier. I'm like, oh, how nice of you. It's
What a
like,
surprise. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so that's how this whole thing, it's just always been I used to have a calendar or a reminder every 6 months that would pop up on my computer, call Optimum for better deal,
It's like
So tired of it.
adversarial dealing with them. You're
Yeah.
trying
and to even
always,
get
like-
more hyper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Even to get more hyper local in your area, because Joe and Sam live roughly in the same area. How does that work at the poll? Are they
No, I
running?
don't. Jerry, I
Well-
moved. I don't know if you know my
Yeah.
office is closed.
I went by there the other day
I
and
know.
it looked
Yeah.
empty.
Yeah.
What's-
Yeah. Usually
I
there's a
keep
line
forgetting
of
what those
people.
bushes are called. The ones
But
that roll
how?
by.
So
Yeah.
they're running their own cable on the pole. Like there's two lines now. There's two fiber lines that are being strung, and one's Altice and the other one's
That's a good question.
Veri-
I wonder. I will always wonder how that works with these
Yeah,
companies.
well, they were at the poll, but I think they just ran. So they did something at the poll, and then I had to go inside and do some work. So I don't believe, I'm like literally looking out my window where it is.
I
right
know.
now.
I know.
But no, well, not for everyone who can't see us, but I think they went straight to did something on the side of the house, if I'm accurate, because or else it would have been a lot longer for them to run from the pole, because their service was installed in no time. Like it was
Wow.
pretty quick, and the guy even ran pretty well inside my garage. He did a great job, and then connected the modem. And then I had to register an Eero because it came with it, but then I turned it off right away.
Oh, nice.
So I have an Eero if anybody wants.
That's actually pretty handy. I mean, it's way better than the days when they would like make up their own or sell, basically sell you a rebranded D-Link or something like that,
Yeah.
and then like if you wanted mesh, you go to like Nobody Beats the Wiz or Crazy Eddie's and you get one of
On the
those,
Wiz.
on the Wiz mesh extender things, that's
Yeah.
just probably again creating this network that is, interfering.
I will say one thing that was kind of funny, because we always deal with this as like, people in the field and dealing with like a technician or something. And the tech on site couldn't get something to work with the Eero, so the service still wasn't up. And he called in to this line that was for the technicians. And the guy's asking him a question, and I just decided to answer because I think the guy didn't know. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, sir. I'm not allowed to talk to you. He said, like, I can't deal with the
Wow.
customer. He's like, I have to talk to the technician. So then he would ask him a question and he didn't know the answer. I would like whisper it to him. He'd be like, all right. He like answered the guy because we couldn't have any direct communication for some odd reason.
Wow.
Well, that happened to me. Do you recall that where I
We
went
did
out to
say,
do
yeah.
a field call and I said, put the guy on the line. And she said, no, he's not allowed to talk to
He's
you.
not allowed. Oh, that must be so like, I don't know, like dehumanizing or something. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
allowed to talk to you. Like,
Yeah.
what did you do
Wow.
wrong? Why aren't you like, what did you say to the last guy that now you can't talk? You're not allowed to talk to anyone. We're like,
I
Yeah,
know.
no,
that
I
was
mean, yeah.
that was the same story where she slipped him some money at the end, and I thought she only gave him a $10 bill, and he was
Yeah.
climbing up
Oh,
the
yeah.
pole in this real windy weather, and so I reached into my wallet and gave him some more money, and as it turned out, she gave him 100 instead of a 10.
Would you give
That's
him a
right.
measly 20?
I think a 20, and I said, so that's when I asked him, "Do you want to trade?" And he, he was humorless.
Oh, man.
So he had 120.
Well, he
Nice.
wasn't allowed to talk to you in the first place, but he can accept
Yeah.
cash. That's not a problem.
I'm sure it's some kind of like,
money talks.
yeah, sure, it's some kind of like liability thing. If they told me to do something and I don't know, like, and
Yeah.
I got electrocuted or something,
Right.
I touched the wrong
Exactly.
wire.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it reminds me of dealing with when my dealings with Frontier for phone stuff. By phone, I'm dealing with the person who's allowed to talk to me, but really the person that can help is on chat. With the
Yeah.
intermediary that I'm talking to. So, I guess it's just the way these companies work, where it's set up. There's a team that's like proven themselves as like not really customer facing in the sense of whatever, they just don't have that bedside manner that these companies are so famous for. So, whereas the people you talk to, they're great. It's like I'd love to hear like, how bad do you have to actually be to not be allowed to talk to the customer, because the people that they do have talking to us are not exactly the most impressive in person.
I know. All
It's
depends.
amazing. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, what else to say about ISPs? I guess, Sam, the thing is, like, my concern with a lot of these companies is their equipment is like, you can have any modem you like, as long as it's got a router built in and it's using a 192.168.1.1 address. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, what about the days of a standalone modem? Or is there a way to put the modem in bridge mode? So did you was there a difference between Optimum fiber and Frontier fiber in your case, or just in your experience in general with clients?
Like for the configuration and everything?
Yeah, like, are you on a business account? Does that maybe just make this problem go away? Because I'm used to dealing with a lot of residential, clients.
No, I think their Eero device would have served as the router. So
Okay.
once I just ripped that out, I just plugged my UDM Pro right into the Frontier box, and it was golden.
Awesome. That's great. Okay.
So it was really
Very
easy.
good to know. Good to know. Because Frontier, I feel like at one point in the past was similar with modem router combo stuff, and I don't know why I haven't had as much. I think they burned me with the DSL, so I really haven't. Their DSL service was just so bad that I just always thought Frontier was like not a viable option. But obviously, you're having great experience and you did your homework. So, yeah.
Joe, I got burned with DSL as well. That's why I did. I was like, I would rip up every flyer I got. I was like, they were so bad. It was horrible.
Okay, so their fiber now is, you think, pretty viable then, it seems like.
Yeah.
Nice.
Matt on my team got it first, and he's like, Frontier's legit. He's like, they're doing it's great, and I'm like, okay, I mean, I'll jump into it. Why not?
And then anyone else local, just because we're doing this hyper local show, apparently, go NetSpeed, or if you can find it, if you have the equivalent of like basically like an independent fiber provider. Now their coverage is very limited, but they're very transparent about it. I mean, you can go right online, put in your address, and they'll tell you, yeah, we're available. Sign up right now. Or they'll say, hey, we're building in your area, put in your email address to be notified when we're available. And then in other cases, they'll say, yeah, we're not building in your area, but if you'd like to request service here, tell us your interest. So we've helped a few clients at various stages of that. And for everybody where it's been available, where we've installed it, both with the dynamic IP, and in cases where we've needed static IP, they're a fantastic option. So they've been great to work with. We recommend them if they're available. Interestingly though, their dynamic service uses that CG NAT that I've mentioned in the past, carrier grade NAT, where you can't like translate this dynamic address, like you can't basically port forward traffic coming from outside to the inside, because that IP address is shared with other customers essentially. So there's really no way to do that. And I'm not even sure if it really supports, like, I guess you could do a client to site VPN, but I don't think there's any way to do like a site to site VPN essentially with
Oh,
that
that's
type of
important.
service. Yeah, so keep
Yeah.
that in mind if you're going to get a new ISP, especially for a business where this is important, or maybe the home of a person that wants to have a site-to-site connection with their office for whatever reason, like we've had that come up in the past. Check to see if the provider uses CGNAT, because if they use CGNAT for their dynamic service, you may want to opt for static IP. You pretty much have to for that kind of scenario.
That's really
Yeah,
good advice.
they've been good. They do use contracted installers, as far as I can tell. So I had a client install this service recently. They schedule a 3-hour meeting, typically, like a 3-hour window of when they'll arrive. So we don't typically meet them there, but we're standing by to do the switch over remotely or to go on site if we need to. The client feedback in this case was that the person was a little creepy. My word, not hers, but didn't have the bedside manner, like we say, about kind of like like mind your business. Like, you're a service person, you're a professional, you go to someone's house to help with a specific issue, like you're going to replace this old service with this new service. Don't pick up the photo on the desk, don't pick
Yeah.
up the random box or on the desk that's maybe like made of brass or some special, and say like, what is this? Right, because then when the answer is that's my son's ashes,
Oh
that's
God.
not a great situation. And she like relayed that to me, like, that this
Oh,
happened.
that's horrific.
So
Jeez.
I was like, I really wish we were there just to provide like kind of a show of support and like a little bit of muscle, like what,
Yeah.
like maybe this person would have stayed in line a little bit, or like at least we could have been a buffer, because it's like, to hear that from a client, it's really awkward, the way that went down. The service is great, it's been working fine, but I was not impressed with like that contracted person essentially.
Right.
I also don't know if I should really follow up with them and report this like secondhand, or third hand.
Might not be a
But
bad idea.
I know I'm just debating that. But yeah, so other
Yeah,
than
you
that,
can't worry about the technician coming to your office to burn you out because you're not there.
not me. Yeah, exactly.
There's,
Right. Again,
there's
I
no
know
office. Yeah.
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Um,
So yeah, go ahead,
yeah.
James. Yeah.
No. I'll save it for later. I have something that's funny that I
Mm.
wanted to tell you guys with a client interaction, but I don't want
Well,
to hog up the show.
no. I mean, I'm always doing a good job of hogging things, but I wanted to shift to Tahoe deferrals because it's that time of year.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
dare I mention the time of year or the year? But so I have
Joe,
to
it's
say
the
it.
most wonderful time of the year.
It is. It's
Mhm.
just
You're
past
dating the
that
show,
time.
Jerry. Come on.
Yeah, come on. So I'm talking about Tahoe deferrals here. Apple gives us 90 days to defer a major OS upgrade, and the way they implement that is, through MDM. So you can deploy an MDM configuration profile. That's a what do we call it? A restrictions payload, and you restrict the software updates to up to 90 days. You can choose how many days to hide or to delay the visibility of the software upgrade in system settings. And that's important when 26.0 ships, and it's a big change for everybody, and we're all getting used to it, and there's some showstopper issues and whatnot. So you want to be able to defer this as a feature for your managed services, and of course we all do this. But Apple only gives us 90 days, and they typically release about 90 days before Christmas. So it's always great, like again, the most wonderful time of the year is like the 90 days, leading up to Christmas, when Apple's like, there's sweat dripping off their brow, and they're trying to like get that 0.2 update out, so they can like
Right.
say, we did it, we got it. And it's like, it's ready for prime time, guys. Like, whether you like it or not, whether that's true or not, I feel like they're aiming for a like just prior to Christmas shipping deadline for like the 0.2. I mean, that's just my interpretation of their kind of timeline, but it seems a little crazy. I mean, can you guys say anything about like your experience with this stuff? I feel like that 90-day limit that Apple arbitrarily decided on it now, like, is this constraint that everybody has to deal with, where even if we're not ready to deploy the new Mac OS, like, you better just be ready, because there's no way to stop it past 90 days. And that 90-day mark is often right before Christmas, or like literally right on that date. And so Apple is also feeling this constraint to rush out their releases, and when did they release the point two? Is like, was it like the week of Christmas or something like
It's like
that?
December 20th or something. Yeah.
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 I mean, it's just a crazy time to be like rushing out all these updates. Like, just give us the bug fixes, and the, like, especially the security vulnerabilities, like, patch that stuff. But like, maybe should they rethink that to give us more time, to give themselves more time? I mean, what's the structure of this from your perspective, Mr. Apple? To start with you, if you have any opinion on that.
Okay, I've been called to the table. I have my own gripe, because working in some instances with education, it always gets released right after the school year starts, like the new OS. I'm like, man, why can't you have that happen over the summer? Like, it's so frustrating. Everything gets rolled out, and then students have to upgrade their devices. But so that's my issue. And then, of course, boiling down to the 90 days to around the holidays is difficult as well. I mean, there are some tools that will block the process outside of, just the MDM function that will block the 90, or that allows the 90-day deferral. You could block like the OS installer process from running. It's a bit heavy-handed, but what?
Yeah, through P-block, is that the one that, I mean, I know Adage uses P-block, which is like a process block kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's for they have a blocker, like, for like what you're describing. If somebody in the past were to like download it from the App Store and then use the full installer, does Software Update use that same like methodology of like downloading it and then running a process to install, which then you can block? Or is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because Tahoe, we did it with Tahoe in a couple of instances, and it worked. Okay. I mean,
nice.
It didn't change the, at least as far as I remember, it worked. Now I'm like second guessing myself, but because we've been instituting that all along just in case. But now, I mean, I want to hear from Jerry about this too, because we've been sort of changing our tunes in general. Like the blocking or deferrals was more of the minority of our clients now. We've been kind of pushing it forward a little bit more early than in previous years. How do you feel, Jerry? Like,
I have to call you Dr. Apple now. I feel like because that's what Apple wants, right? I mean, you're doing what Apple wants. And I don't want to be as far behind as I've in the past been. Like, I feel like I'm always playing catch up with this stuff. So I want to, we're not like actively blocking it right now, but we're not yet like recommending it, so I feel like I'm waiting for that 0.3, which is any day now kind of thing. But yeah, Jerry, what do you say about all of this?
Well, Sam was asking me how I feel, and I'm pretty good. I'm getting some rest, and
nice.
Looks like you're lounging by the beach, so that's good.
Staying away from the caffeine, and feeling pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. Haven't had caffeine since August.
That explains it.
Still, I've assumed you'd gone back at some point. That's great, man. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Well, what's really interesting, and there may or may not be a correlation, but how sometimes if you stay up late, right? And, I've been kind of laying off the booze too, but you just like feel like crap the next day, and you don't really, feel good until like the next day. So if you went out drinking Monday night or stayed out late.
Monday, wow.
Well, I used to regularly drive down to New York City on Monday nights.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I would drive back, and I wouldn't get really home that late. But then I would wake up the next day, 6:30, 7 o'clock, because the kids would be going off to school. I had to take them to school or whatever. And I just wouldn't feel right until Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And I would drink like voluminous amounts of coffee. All that's gone away. Now, I don't know whether I'm just resting better and I'm not having to do these drives anymore. But that was that's the only thing I've sort of observed as a possible benefit side effect. I don't feel like I'm missing the coffee, because after you wean yourself off caffeine, you don't really miss it. So I don't know what that has to do with deferrals, but that's my answer.
It helps you focus, if that's any.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know.
You're sure you're not feeling the effect of lack of caffeine? It's like, the question. We'll remind you what the question was now. That
Yeah.
Just joking.
Feel like you're talking to a member of Congress right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Where
Right.
you ask them a question
You're
and you're
answering
going
the
to get a
question
complete.
you want to answer, not the
Yeah.
question we actually asked.
Yeah, you get a completely different answer.
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah, I
economy is
don't.
doing great. I think.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't worry about deferrals. Stinking. We don't need no stinking deferrals.
Nice.
Here's our show title.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people who
That's
want
good.
to upgrade, as long as they're if it was an architectural firm and they were using something like AutoCAD or ArchiCAD or any one of these 3D modeling things, and you got to watch. There are niche cases where you really have
Yeah.
to be very, very careful. But for the majority of my installed base, have at it. And
Yeah.
let the chips fall where they may. But I haven't had any pushback by anybody who's updated to Tahoe. None.
I do think there's a general consensus amongst users as well, where it's less of a jolt to them. I feel like a lot of people are like, all right, I'll run the upgrade. Like, they don't really say much as they did in previous, at least from what I'm seeing. Maybe,
Right.
I don't know, I'm just not hearing as much, but it feels that way.
And they're not overzealous users either. Sometimes you get the overzealous one who's always upgrading and installing the beta. I don't feel like they fall into that category. They're just simply people who are like, oh, I want this. This is newer than what I have. I need that. So yeah, I just let them go. Let your children go, Joe.
Let it go. Yeah.
Pretty soon, they're old enough now that you have to give them a little bit more headroom.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, and the combo of the type of client who wants to be on the leading edge but kind of like can't navigate it, is like always tough.
That's That's somebody you got to rein in.
Yeah, no, totally.
Still.
No, and we have in the past where they've been like either installing it before we were ever blocking this stuff and then calling with issues like from day one. And I'm like, I haven't even installed it yet. Like sorry, like let me see, I'll do my best here, but we didn't recommend you do this. So some of them, like you were saying, are, it can be the combination where they're installing the latest and they need a lot of help and guidance and they really shouldn't be running the latest OS. They don't like change, those kinds of people, like that's a bad combo. But we have been blocking it as a feature of our managed services agreement, so we actually want to take some step, but I don't worry about that being like I have to do it definitively 100%. If the blocker doesn't work or I don't get the deferral in place, right away, or for some whatever, if there's an issue, fine, we can deal with it. But I do like to block it, by design as part of the managed services. And then the important thing to do, though, is to unblock it when that 90-day window expires. So here's the issue that's bitten me in the past, and I feel like I've got a decent handle on this now. But if you think of a timeline where, like, let's just say September 15th, I don't know what the date was, 26.0 is released. So from the release date, you have up to 90 days to block that 26.0 from being installed on a machine that was running, 15x or 14x or any prior macOS version. So you do that again by deploying the deferral profile and, okay, cool, now it's deferred. And in my experience, by the way, MDM has been working so much better than it was a few years ago. I remember when I was troubleshooting this stuff a few years ago and, why was this person able to upgrade? Well, the profile wasn't in place. Why wasn't it in place? MDM broke, or you're testing it and you're like, adding the profile and removing the profile, and you would want to see the results of what does this profile look like in system settings, software update, and it would like not it would deploy, it would look like it deployed, but you wouldn't get immediate feedback, or software update was just broken in general, so you're like, what am I seeing here? Like, I'm not seeing the right updates. Is that because of me? No, it's because of software update. But anyway, so like all that is much better now. So on my test machines, I'm deploying the profile and pulling it, and I'm looking at the results pretty much live. It's pretty impressive. So the thing I was testing was that, again, if 26.0 comes out September 15th, and then, 3 months later, 90 days later, you can no longer block 26.0, right? So now that version will be displayed if you still have the deferral profile in place. But you don't want, if you're, you can't block 26.0, but it's blocking the later versions because 26.1 came out on October or whatever, and 26.2 just came out or whatever. So you have 90 days from the days that those were released to block them. But what good is blocking them if you can't block the earlier version? Like, I don't want a client to install 26.0. If they're going to install anything, I want them to install 26.2, right? So the only way to do that is basically to pull the deferral profile entirely, because after the 90 days are up, you can't set it to 100 days or 200 days. It doesn't respect that setting, right? So this is important because you may be wondering why, like, software update may not function properly because it may only show the like newer version. Like, this also affects if they're running 14.x, like they're running macOS 14, and there's a version, you want to allow them to update to a Sequoia version 15, and you'll end up blocking the latest Sequoia, but only showing an earlier version of Sequoia, which again is not something that you want to do. So the bottom line is you've just got to pull these profiles entirely. Again, the reason is you can't block the 26.2. Even if you want to block 26.2, you can block it as, I guess, as a minor update after they install 26.0. But again, why would you ever want to do that? So my bottom line is, after you can no longer block 26.0, you need to just remove the deferral profile entirely. That's the best user experience that you can have.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think that's the other piece of it is it's just getting more and more complicated to kind of deal with this sort of thing. And then the other side, I was just thinking about what you were talking about as part of your MSP program, because your clientele, you're doing that for them as a service.
Yeah.
I think that one of the other reasons why I started to have to go the other way also is we started to offer things like CIS compliance, which Adigy and Jamf and others kind of offer. And on the business side, one of the CIS things is keeping your software up to date. So I had to kind of go for those clients that were doing that. I'm like, well, I got to keep it up to date now. I can't go the other way. But I got to be honest, it makes my life easier because it's much easier to enforce the updates than block them.
Yeah. So, now, when you say require the updates as part of a CIS compliance, is because obviously, we all know that Apple still supports the N-2. They support 14.0, 14.x, 15.x, and 26. So, are there certain stricter? Because I'm only just dabbling in this now. Are there certain stricter levels of compliance that require the absolute latest macOS version, not just the updated version of 15, 15.7.3 as we speak?
It's not about the version. So the CIS, it's a level 1, and it's just basically saying that you have automatic updates enabled. Okay. So I think that could be a little bit interpreted as the way I do it 2 weeks, I do it 3 weeks, that kind of a thing, as long as it's set to auto update potentially. But I don't know. I mean, that's a good question actually to see if that is an open, because level 1 I think is a little bit less intrusive than level 2, obviously, but I don't know if that's something that could be open to a little bit of MSP interpretation.
Yeah, because I certainly enforce the latest updates, to I have in Adigy Flex policies that manage the updates for, groups of Macs. And, one way of scoping it is to say, if they're in one of these policies where we manage updates and they're running version 15 dot anything, always push out the 15 dot, in this case 7.3, latest version of 15. Or you can do 15.99.99 and just as soon as the latest update to 15 is available, it just pushes it out. So that's the way of managing still the 15.x updates. And for that matter, if they happen to be running 26, obviously you want to enforce the latest updates to 26 as well. But yeah, it's an interesting point because technically speaking, Apple only commits to fixing security vulnerabilities in the very latest macOS version. They backport them to the previous 2, but they kind of have this my interpretation is they say, well, not every prior macOS version requires every security update. It's okay, we'll take your word for that, I guess, because it's if it's a framework that hasn't changed significantly from 15 to 26, like in theory, it may still be vulnerable, and they often do put, backport those fixes. But is there a reason, like in some cases, we should not assume that, like it may be a stricter way of being compliant with security best practices is just to run the absolute latest and greatest at all times.
Yeah, I mean I think that's the general guidance, I guess, but
Yeah.
there are definitely cases where we have to keep it, like, I think Jerry was starting to mention like use cases where that might not be the case. And like I have some clients running FileMaker, and it's particularly sensitive to the OS updates if you're not running the right version of FileMaker. So
Yeah.
we have to be cautious about that and get everyone up to speed with FileMaker before we can run the upgrade. So
Yeah.
it's every situation is different.
One other question, a side point here. I've been hearing reports that Apple may be prompting users to upgrade to Tahoe. So there seems to be a thing where like Apple's marketing, they're, as Jerry would say, champing at the bit, or as I would say, chomping at the bit. 'Cause I don't know any better. But
Definitely chomping.
Apple's marketing is like, when can we push this out? When can we push this out? Like, are you guys ready yet? Please, we want to like push this to users so that the Nana clients, the mom and pop, like everybody, that's unmanaged essentially, and probably a lot of the managed clients as well, will get that like prompt from Apple in Notification Center about how great Tahoe is. And, they click the button and it starts the upgrade. And I don't know if there's different versions of that. Like, here's an advertisement, that's a little bit like of a lighter touch versus like, we're just going to upgrade you. Cause like, I swear people claim that. I don't know that I've ever seen that happen. If you're running Sequoia, is there a scenario where Apple will just like upgrade you to Tahoe? Where they consider it, like I accept when they do that for updates. Like I want them to install, even if for an unmanaged home user, if they're on 15.7.2, I want Apple to update them to 15.7.3. But is there a scenario where Apple will update them to 26.2 from there because they just think this is ready? Why would anyone not want this? I guess I'm wondering, have you guys been hearing this lately coming up yet? Because I read a report of this and I haven't been able to corroborate it at all.
No, I don't think I'm trying to think of systems that I have that might be that far back that have been prompted for that, and I don't think I can think of a scenario that at least I've heard feedback from.
Okay, Jerry, how about you? Anything? I guess a lot of your clients are already updated, just by.
Well, not a lot of them. A lot of them just ignore their
all
messages and go. And they continue on their merry way. So no, I haven't seen that, and I've seen a lot of machines. I mean, I've remoted in and seen a lot of potential possibilities for this, and I haven't seen what you're describing. So where did you read this on?
Reddit.
On the dark web, yeah, probably Reddit, or I forget where I saw somebody saying something like, oh, this one 26.2 is like the one when Apple's starting to promote this. There always seems to be a wave every new release where like, okay, now the masses are getting it. So that's why I was kind of wondering if we're at that point yet. Right. One last thing on this is that I noticed that in my testing on a Sonoma machine, it's displaying Tahoe as an update. So we know it goes as part of the software update like mechanism in those cases, but they used to make a distinction. There was a big like upgrade banner at the top, and then like, or you can update to like, it's like, don't look down here, but if you scrolled this far, like you can update the version you have, but they actually, in my case in Sonoma, they're showing Tahoe as like update. I think it said update now. So it's.
Yeah. I think you should update, Joe.
No, I'm keeping that on Sonoma for testing in that case. But I'm running, my daily driver's running Tahoe, of course. But the terminology there was interesting because I used to use this distinction between upgrade and update.
Yeah,
like I wanted clients to even understand it. Like if there's an upgrade, that's different. You should wait on that and think about it. But an update is good. Now they're just Apple's like, yeah, we'll just call it an update and everybody will install it. So cool. So anyway, that's
the point released for the OS that you're running to update it is not even discoverable anymore. I mean, it's really buried beneath the prompt to just upgrade to Tahoe. Yeah, it's
exactly. So Adam in the Adam Rice from Ask Adam in the chat is saying this is exactly how he rolls as well. Just remove the deferral profile when it would result in someone receiving an out-of-date version of macOS. So basically, at the 90-day mark, or however long you've decided to block it, remove it at the end of the block, and then just don't worry about it. Essentially, is what he's saying. Past that point, which I tend to agree with for the most part. And then Badger fan 007 is saying
that's Dwayne Moss, by the way.
Oh, Dwayne. Okay, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Dwayne Moss. Yes, I recognize the icon, but his yeah, he says level 1 is typically for endpoint and base security. Level 2 is for servers and critical systems with higher security standards for higher risk systems. So that's referring back to the CIS level 1 and level 2 compliance.
Dwayne explaining it much better than I could. Thanks, man.
Yes, thank you, Dwayne. Awesome. Good info. What else do you guys have as we begin to wind down the show here?
I think that was actually a pretty timely topic for me, just talking about that sort of thing. But getting into the updates, upgrades, whatever you want to call them, because the other piece to that, just to put a bow on that, is the declarative device management functionality that just I'm now capable of setting update mechanisms for my systems and not even worrying about which point or which version. I just kind of set it in DDM, and now I can just walk away and computers are keeping up to speed, which I just absolutely love. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there with DDM being really awesome on the Apple side.
Right. Quick question for you on that, Sam, because Jerry, you might have something to say about this too. For notifications, have you dealt with anything beyond the built-in notifications for clients? Jerry was bringing my attention to this. Was like DDM notify or something like that for being able to basically like watch the log for entries like, hey, there's an update scheduled, and then be able to like notify through, I forget if it was through Swift Dialog or something else.
Yeah, Swift.
Yeah, Swift. Yeah, that's actually a good point. We should throw that link in the chat for it. Is called DDM notify, right? Right, Jerry?
Yep. From Dan Nelson.
Yeah.
The only quibble I have, and it's great that everybody's contributing and making these better, but there's like a new version. There's like 3 different versions every week, and it just drives you crazy. Because I wish it would sort of like just be at rest for a little while, so everybody can kind of get on board for it.
That's my biggest wish for this whole industry, is like this moving target of like, things are good right now. It's like, oh man, like all my crap just broke, and like I can't just play a playlist on my HomePod. Like I'm like checking the Apple TV because it's paired with the HomePod. Does that need an update? No. Okay, well I'll restart it anyway. I don't know. Like, okay, let's restart the HomePod. That's not working. Oh, the HomePod has an update. Okay, let's do the update on the HomePod. No, I still can't play music. Like, I still can't press a button on my phone and have the music play on the HomePod. Okay, maybe I'll reboot my phone. Yep, that did it. That was the solution. And that's, I don't know, because like something updated, and so now something's unstable, and then there's gonna be an update, and then it's gonna be really good. Oh, that update was really good. How long does that last before the next one? Yeah, exactly. This industry needs to stop, with this. Like, I don't know.
I feel your pain, Joe. My wife and I, we just want to play a little music, during our dinner time, right?
Yeah.
And I subscribe to a very expensive service called Rune, which sort of aggregates your personal library, and you could subscribe. So I subscribe to Qobuz, and I also subscribe to Tidal. And it's great, because you can use Tidal playlists, and I have it integrated with Sonos. And we sit down to dinner, you hit play, and after about 30 seconds, it stops. It stops. It worked yesterday.
I've had that happen too. Yep.
Oh my gosh. And so you're rebooting everything. I'm rebooting my Synology server, which kind of like runs the engine that runs this thing called Rune. And I'm doing all these things. I'm looking at this same thing as you. Does Sonos have an update? What happened here? What broke? Okay. Turn off all the audio interfaces within Rune and then reactivate them again. Yep. Right. Pair them up. Nope. It's playing in one area of the house, but it's not playing in the other. It drives me nuts.
And all the while, your dinner gets cold while you're trying to do all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Really
It's like
frustrating.
people ask me, how do normal people deal with this stuff? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I can't even deal with it. I can't, you know, like, and you know, I mean, I'm not doing anything crazy. Like even what you're describing, Jerry, is a little bit fancier. Like I'm literally using Apple Music from an iPhone to a
Yeah.
HomePod. Like this is like it just could not get any simpler than this. This is
Yeah.
Apple's dream, is for someone to buy all of the crap that I have, like literally within arm's reach of me right now. And even
Right.
that, like I'm rebooting, I'm like, and I'm over here getting frustrated. Like I've been troubleshooting for other people all day, and I can't even just
Yeah.
play music now. You know?
Yeah, and also too, to take that one step further, and it's like, oh well, Ubiquity had an update. Did it accidentally turn on multicast, and multicast needs to be off for Sonos? Like, and then you're going through all your settings on your Unify router, and it's like, guys,
yes,
like, how do normal people deal with this?
Right.
That's the most common question I think we get from people. It's like, how do normal people deal with this?
Right.
Can I tell you something along those lines that it's really funny? So I have my oatmeal in the morning, right? I'm doing my oatmeal, and I have a HomePod in the kitchen, and I usually set a 5-minute timer for my oatmeal. I usually say, you know, the word S word, start a 5-minute timer. And so today, at the time, I have my Apple Watch on, I have my phone on, and I'm watching actually Instagram. And at the time, I am watching a reel of, if anyone's seen Succession, the amount of times that Logan Roy has said F off to people. So I'm watching a clip of this, of him saying F off to people 1,000,000 times over. So I say, the S word, start a 5-minute timer. My HomePod does not listen, but both my watch and my phone light up. And I have one Siri listening to the other. And the Siri on my watch hears my phone saying F off and says, Sam, that's very rude. I won't respond to that. And I'm like, this is just too, like, the Siris are talking to each other. Like, I don't understand. They can't even figure out that they're both the same.
Yeah, well, somebody's done that on YouTube where they have the two phones side by side, and the Chat GPTs are talking to one another.
Yes.
Because Chat GPT always likes to have the final word. And so they started this thing where, like, okay, I forget what the premise was, but you know, I want the final word. And then the Chat GPT on the other side will say, that's fine. We'll just wait again for you to have any questions, because I'm here anytime you like. And then the other one will respond, that's correct. I'm here for you. So just, and it goes back and forth. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's hysterical.
It's so
Sam, did you have a client interaction you wanted to share before we close up shop?
Oh yeah, okay. I've definitely been hijacking this show, but yeah, I'll talk about that one real quick. So I was helping a customer at an office, and they were in the basement office because they run the maintenance for the building. And I was like, I'll give you a call, because we were emailing. I said, I'll give you a call and we'll help set up your printer. And he says, well, I don't get any service, and I don't have my voice over IP phone down here yet. So I'm like, because he's a newish employee. So I'm like, all right, I'll just chat you through Splashtop. So I chat him through Splashtop, and we start talking, and I say, connect the printer, blah, blah. And I'm remoting in and installing the drivers. And I'm like, did it print yet? He's like, no, it didn't print. So I'm talking with him, and all of a sudden he just stops responding, like nothing. I'm like, hey, did it print yet? I'm like, I have other things to do. And he's gone. And then within like a minute, I get an email from the operations person in the building that says, can you please stop John's emails effective immediately? So he got fired in the middle of my remote session with him. And that's why he stopped responding. He was just gone.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, oh, that's where he went. I was like, okay.
Wow. Oh man.
That was pretty
was
cool.
it something was it something from your interaction that they
think
were like
so.
auditing the
Seemed like a pleasant gentleman.
Yeah, that's a first, being S-canned in the middle of a support session.
Yeah, just gone.
That is wild, man. That's that's a first, huh? That's like I haven't had that happen.
Never happened
live.
before.
Yeah.
I wish him well, whatever he does.
Right. Oh man. Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Before we go, Adam Rice you just shared a comment with Adam Rice. Adam Rice was on the Backblaze forum in Slack, and we were talking about our woes with Backblaze, and Adam said, yeah, I had the same thing happen, and I was working with my client, and I felt really foolish. And I replied to Adam, stay hungry and foolish, Steve Jobs,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think
Nice.
Adam appreciated it as much as I did, but I thought it was really clever.
It's pretty clever. Yeah. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the Steve Jobs quote. Yeah. Nicely done. Yeah. Backblaze has been another one of these recently where I think we shared on the show that they don't back up your iCloud drive, and like even if it's like set to not optimize Mac storage and it's just sitting on your Mac, they just like officially don't back it up anymore. So they've just been slowly eroding the comprehensiveness of their service from my perspective.
And I don't think
So-
most people know that, right?
Yeah, no,
I don't really
it's
see
pretty
that
new.
discussed.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, and they
Except
still,
here. And that's
except
why
here.
we all
That's
listen.
why you tune
Yeah.
in. Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure online they still have their support article, at least as of very recently, saying like, oh, here's how to make sure your iCloud Drive, gets included, or your Google Drive gets included in these backups. And in fact, they make a distinction like sync is not backup. So, relying on iCloud Drive as your, to back up your files, like you shouldn't just rely on iCloud Drive. Like that's why Backblaze is here. But it turns out that they no longer even do that.
They're not here.
So
Yeah.
they're not here.
Not here.
Maybe they got fired mid-call like Sam's client. Maybe it's all right. Thanks everybody for listening to another episode of Command Control Power. To find out more, visit us at commandcontrolpower.com, and to support the show and get access to dozens and maybe even like 100 new other episodes. I don't want to overpromise. It's at least dozens. Support us on Patreon. So go to commandcontrolpower.com and click on support. Thanks everybody for listening. See you next week. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button there.